Welcome to the Confident Speaker Podcast by Speaking Your Brand. This is your host, AI Carol. Let's talk about something I know you've wondered before. Just how personal should your stories be when you're giving a professional talk or presentation? You might be thinking, do they really want to hear about what happened to me in high school? Or is it self-indulgent to tell this story about my family or my health journey? And maybe you've even worried, is this too much? I've been there myself. Years ago, I gave a keynote where I told the story of being in local politics and deciding not to run for re-election. I felt like I had let myself down, like I hadn't stood up for what I believed in. It was raw, uncomfortable, and deeply personal. But do you know what happened after that talk? People came up to me not to talk about the strategy tips I gave, but to talk about that story. It made them feel seen. It made them reflect on their own choices. That's the power of personal stories when used with intention. So how personal should you get in a professional talk? Here are 3 things to keep in mind. 1, make it relevant, not random. Your story should serve a purpose. It should connect to the key idea or main point you want your audience to walk away with. Share something personal if it helps your audience understand why this topic matters to you or why it should matter to them. Think about your story as the bridge between the idea and the emotion. It's not about dumping your diary on your audience. It's about helping them feel, reflect, or take action. 2, share from the scar, not the wound. If you're going to get personal, you want to be in a place where you've processed the experience, meaning you're not still in the raw middle of it. When you share from a scar, something you've grown through, you're more grounded. You can offer perspective, insight, and even a little hope. That's what your audience wants. They don't need all the details. They need the meaning. A good question to ask yourself is, have I found the lesson in this yet? If the answer is yes, that's a green light to share. 3, keep it real, not performative. We can always tell when a story feels overly polished or like it's been rehearsed to death. Instead, aim for genuine, use natural language, share emotion, but don't force it. You're not putting on a show, you're building a connection. Sometimes it's the quiet stories, the unexpected moments that hit the hardest. A client of mine was worried her story was too small. She shared about playing cards with her grandmother as a kid and how that shaped her sense of strategy and patience. That story ended up anchoring her entire keynote because people remembered it. They saw their own childhoods in it. They saw her in a new light. Remember, vulnerability isn't weakness, it's leadership. When you open the door to your real lived experience, you invite your audience to do the same. And that's where transformation happens, not just information. So the next time you're building a talk or getting ready for a presentation, ask yourself, what personal experience first brought me to this topic? What moment shifted my perspective? Where did this lesson become real for me? Start there. You don't have to bare your soul, but don't be afraid to let people see your heart. That's where your message lives. You can find ways to work with us and learn more about crafting signature talks with your authentic stories at speakingyourbrand.com. Be sure to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify so you don't miss any of our insightful and actionable episodes. This on-demand episode was generated by my AI voice clone trained on Speaking Your Brand content. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay bold, stay true, and keep speaking your brand.